beep, 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 beep. How you doing? You're up. Right, okay. Nice cup of tea first thing this morning. I can sense spring in the air, which is a glorious thing that we should all enjoy. I'm looking forward to it being warm enough to get the shirts back on, the bright shirts. I think it's time the bright shirts made a return. Look at that. See that? See that picture? That, ladies and gentlemen, is the face of a warrior teacher. Sandra Adams there, as you can see, looking smiley and intelligent with her books behind her. How you doing, Sand? Sandra Adams is one of my warrior teacher attendees, and we've worked together for a while now, and I'm very proud to see her in this particular article here from the Irish Times, which talks about culture wars reach the classroom. What is the best way to teach children about gender identity? Well, the best way is to teach it for what it is, a cult, right? About gender and identity. Now, that's an interesting headline because not everybody agrees with me on this, and certainly not all the warrior teachers. Identity is immaterial. Forget identity. It's a therapeutic term. It's designed to make the growth of your child a psychological problem. That's the whole reason it exists. So what Sandra is concerned about here, and rightly so, is in Ireland, a new primary level syllabus, the biggest shake-up in 2 decades, is being finalised against the backdrop of polarised online debate and claims of misinformation. Now, you know as well as I do that these rotten, stinking critical social justice cultists are a pain in the ass. And Sandra says here in her picture, we have to teach facts, not ideologies. This is from Carl O'Brien on Saturday, March 22nd from the Irish Times. On the face of it, Sandra Adams, a Dublin-based mother of 2, seems an unlikely campaigner to be on the front line of the culture wars. Not to me. Not to me at all. I supported the repeal referendum. This is on marriage equality, talking about gay rights there. If anything, I'm more of a social democrat in terms of philosophy, says Adams, who was previously, I wish they wouldn't do that, says Sandra. Why can't they say that? Who has previously worked as an arts producer and community worker. Right now, one of her main concerns is campaigning for what she calls fact-based, scientifically accurate education and opposing the presentation of gender identity in schools as fact. People are entitled to believe whatever they wish. I don't query that, she says. But if you go into a school and teach that everyone has a gender identity, that's simply not true. We have to teach facts, not ideologies. This is, of course, a subject close to my heart. And Sandra and I have spoken often in our sessions with the other warrior teachers about how this situation came about, what's going on. Yeah. Children don't have a stable sense of identity, says Sandra, and can be quite easily influenced and manipulated. So it's profoundly irresponsible to say you can change sex. Karen Sagru, I think she trans her own child, I think, a mother from Limerick, I'm not sure about that, holds very different views. A teacher, psychotherapist. Now, there's 2 words you don't ever want to see together. Teacher and psychotherapist. No. That's why identity's in it, see? That's why identity's in it. It's the child is not what they should be. Therefore, they need to be made whole. We need to fix them. Psychology, education. Never the twain should meet. Oh, she's chair of Mammies for Trans. Oh, she missed the alliteration. She could have gone for Mammies for Trannies. She insists gender identity isn't contested science and there's nothing to fear being raised in the classroom. It's not even science, woman. It's not even science. That's Karen Sagru. The World Health Organization understands that gender is not a binary, it's a spectrum, as does the Irish government and the Department of Health, she says. They are very clear on that, so we're on very solid ground. No, you aren't. What are you talking about? You're on solid ground. Gender is not a binary, it's a spectrum. Well, gender is a euphemism for sex, and sex is not on a spectrum. All right, love? All right, Karen? Screw you in the moonlight. She says we should teach children about diverse families and identities in an age-appropriate way, especially in light of attempts to make political capital on the back of so-called wedge issues. What's she talking about? She's a mad loony left, isn't she? She looks like a mad loony left. We saw it with Donald Trump. One of the first things he did was to make an issue of gender, not guns or drugs. You made the issue of gender, woman. You and your cultist friends made the issue of gender. That's what you did. You saw it and you thought, oh, this is too good to miss. We can bring on our leftist utopia. Get the neoliberals on board. How'd you get them on board? Tell them they can screw their Afghan. That's what you are, right? In Ireland, there are lots of bad faith political actors who will stoke up controversy on this instead of housing, health, or waiting lists, which they can't solve, says the Gru. You have no interest in housing, health, or waiting lists. You are an ideologue who wishes to push your nonsense onto everybody else in Ireland. The process of drafting a new curriculum at primary level, the biggest shake-up to teaching and learning for 2 decades, has attracted huge levels of interest and hundreds of submissions from parents as well as lobby groups and other stakeholders. Isn't it interesting this is happening both in the UK and in Ireland here, you see, as the Irish Times here reports. On one side are both self-declared liberal and conservative parents, campaign groups, religious organisations and others who argue that radical gender ideology, and gender ideology is radical. You don't need the radical. It's not appropriate for children. That young people with gender dysphoria need specialised and compassionate medical care, not what some term woke indoctrination at school. Gender dysphoria is a made-up diagnosis. It was created by cross-dressing men in order to normalise their fetish. At best, it's bodily integrity disorder. I've said all this before. And yes, they are teaching woke indoctrination at school. On the other side are parents of trans children in some cases. There are no trans children. Stop it. Groups of academics and non-governmental organisations who say groups of academics, what a surprise, and non-governmental organisations who say the new syllabus needs to recognise the diversity of LGBTQ plus hands, knees and bumps, a daisy identities, and who insist that silencing conversations around identity will have detrimental effects on the lives of many vulnerable pupils. If you don't separate pupils out from themselves, from the actuality of their personality, and tell them they've also got something called an identity, how can you possibly help them to create this identity, which will be as a branding, as an activist for the future? That's why you need identity. That's why they need it. Right? And it won't have a detrimental effect on the lives of many vulnerable pupils if we don't talk about it. But stop talking about identity. It doesn't matter, right? You've got a personality. In time, you'll make that into a character. Right now, if you're 12 years old, you're just an empty husk. Shut up. Do your own work. Give me your times table. Who are the kings of England? Or in this case, some Irish history, whatever it may be. And then they've got brackets, gender identity not included in draft primary school curriculum. Ooh. The curriculum is being drafted against a backdrop of polarised online debate. Viral videos with claims of highly sexualised or inappropriate curricular content, while the Enoch Burke saga, the second-level teacher opposed to what he terms transgenderism and who has violated court orders to stay away from his former school, continues with no sign of a resolution. Enoch, as you know, is in prison. That's how bad it gets. Enoch's, this is the canary in the coal mine, the likes of Enoch. You don't think they'll imprison him? You don't think they'll imprison you when you won't play ball with their new utopian gender world? You bet they will. You bet they will. The body charged with developing the new primary syllabus is the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, a statutory body of the Department of Education. Policymakers say it's timely that an updated curriculum is developed to equip our children with essential knowledge, skills, concepts, attitudes, values, and dispositions to prepare them for life further into the 21st century. Those values will be based on postmodernism and constructivism, which of course are the pipeline to queer theory, critical environmentalism, critical social justice, and gender identity ideology. Under the draft reforms, which have been several years in the making, primary school pupils will spend more time learning foreign languages, excellent, as well as STEM, science, technology, engineering and maths, and a broader arts curriculum, including dance and creative media. Fantastic. Oh, until the well-being section of the draft curriculum is the most contentious. It includes an emphasis on relationships and sex education, including new areas of learning, such as consent and diversity in family structures. So it looks like there is, however, no reference to transgender or gender identity issues. It does feature in the separate and recently updated social personal health education curriculum for older junior cycle students, typically aged 12 to 15. Notwithstanding this, the NCCA noted that a diversity of opinion was shared on gender identity. And look up at TI now. They've got look up at TI this time. Look up at TI. Hands, knees and bumps, a daisy terminology that do not feature in the draft wellbeing curriculum at primary level during its consultation. Look, go and have a look, go and have a read, see for yourself. The links are in the Dubers. I want these people gone, and the parents should want these people gone too. Look, there must be people out there. Do you not understand why I'm so mad about this? Is there anybody on our side who thinks he's a bit over the top and he thinks it's all about all these different things, but actually it's only about one, it's about gender. It's not, it's about equity. Right? And in order to achieve their equity, they will use the concept of identity. Then they can mold the identity in the minds of the children, which will then become their brand, which they will protect zealously online and off. Parents, you've been warned. Buckle up, armour up. Let's end this nonsense. I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.